When did you miss an obvious hint that someone wanted to have sexual relations with you? We just got back from our first lunch date and both worked at Chipotle next to campus. I lived in the apartments above and had just a couple minutes to spare before my shift. Had to run upstairs quick to change and she asked if she could come with. And definitely had that look about her. I kind of knew what she meant at the time, but had to be at work since I was on thin ice for some unrelated stuff. I kindly declined, even as she persisted, and ran up and back down just in time to clock in, like a Boy Scout. After that, vibes were definitely gone. I have Vietnam flashbacks to this day of what she must have thought. Ugh. Walked into the wrong tent when at International Scout Camp, naked girl lying there. Me, sorry I thought this was my tent, go to leave. Her, it can't be, you don't need to leave. Cue me realizing about a year after about my own crippling stupidity. School fair, final senior year. I was chilling in the canteen area with a friend and his girlfriend. This really hot girl notices that I'm kin to third wheeling, so she calls me over to sit on a table with her, just the two of us on this table. We have a really long conversation about how we hate our art teacher or something, and then she says she's hungry, so we start walking around the food stalls. We hold hands while wandering around the food stalls, which I thought was weird but didn't mind. Side note, somewhere in conversation, while walking around the food stalls she brought up that she wasn't wearing a bra, she had a really small crop top on and that was it. So anyway, we get to one end of the row of food stalls, still not having eaten anything, and she just keeps walking, so I follow her outside of the school fair to a little secluded area surrounded by bushes, and she confesses she likes me. My dumbass didn't get any of the hints in the moment that she wanted to have sex, so I just got her number and then we kept walking through the food stalls looking for something to eat. Later on we went on our first date, then our second, which we kissed on. And then I think we kinda mutually agreed it wasn't working without actually saying anything. Neither of us were bitter cause we still see each other every day and say hi. In hindsight, I think she had far different intentions that day at the school fair, and me not following through kinda showed her I wasn't ready for that kind of relationship, which I honestly don't think I was. Sure, I would have loved to have sex with one of the hottest girls in the year, but I was very innocent compared to her, and I think it was truly for the best that I didn't realize her true intentions behind the bushes at the school fair. I have many such stories. As a young man, I seemed to always operate on the assumption that there was no way a girl could really be interested in me. The one that comes to mind is when I took a girl out in college. I dropped her off at her place and we kissed. She looked at me and said, "My roommate is gone for the weekend, I have the room all to myself." I replied, "You're lucky, I'm in a triple, so I never have my room to myself." Well, good night. My 20s are so full of these it's not funny. If I could go back and tell my younger self that a girl sleeping in the same bed as you does not just mean she's mega comfortable with you, the best one, however, is when the girl I was utterly obsessed with said, "If you offered me sex, I don't think I'd be able to say no." I hate myself. Postscript, after some therapy and serious introspection for other reasons, it turns out I might actually have high-functioning autism in the process of being assessed now. That would explain so much. So my best friend started joking about us fucking. I just went along with the jokes cause we're both really fucking weird and that's just our humor, I guess. A while later she told me a few times that we could try out dating and see what happens. And that if it fails, that we'll just stay friends. It took me 3 weeks after she said that to realize what she meant. Now I'm dating her for almost half a year now, and it's fucking amazing. When I was in college, I had a longtime friend, F, show up at my place, unannounced in the pouring rain, soaking wet, like soaking wet, as if she had just dunked herself in the pool. She was hot as hell and had a great personality, but had dated one of my good friends back in HS, so I guess you could say I, unknowingly, friend-zoned her. I let her inside, she undressed right in front of me, I gave her some dry clothes, and we took a nap. No thing ever happened. Now she's a yoga instructor, still hot AF, and I'm not even friends with her ex anymore. Looking back, it's so painfully obvious how interested she was, but at the time I lacked the self-confidence, self-awareness to make it happen. I have no doubt that we would have been compatible relationship-wise. Still one of my biggest regrets, but hey, you live and learn. In university, living in residence. Down in the first floor common area hanging out with friends. I'm giving a piggyback ride to a really cute girl. She, why don't you carry my up to my room? Me, guys aren't allowed on the girls' floor. I give her another ride around the common room instead. A man of the law I see. Lawful good. Some girl asked me if I wanted to get drunk at her house and watch her do pilates. I said no and realized my error when I got back home. That's not even subtle, how do you miss this lol? I was a lifeguard in high school. Had a girl ask me if I could teach her mouth-to-mouth sometime and winked at me. I told her she should just sign up for a first aid course. This is the best one by far. Something so obvious, yet someone so oblivious, bless you bro Mao. She, hey, do you want to have sex? Me, oh, I would love to. It's just hard to find a girl who likes me. True story. She was a coworker, and we have the type of relationship where we can say fucked up shit and laugh about it. One time we were both on shift, and I was about to leave. She asked what I was planning to do later. Me jokingly, probably go home and jerk off. Her in a softer voice, oh, did you need any help with that? Me, no thanks, I'm pretty good at it. At the time I really thought she was just playing into the conversation. Edit, I found out a long time later from one of her friends that she was serious and also really disappointed. I'm sorry. Bro gave a reason why he's good at it. Respect. A longtime friend had come to visit me, we lived about 50 miles apart at the time, and after a few drinks insisted she wanted to stay the night. I say sure stay the night, sleep anywhere you like. Her reply was something along the lines of is sleeping in bed with you okay? I've known her for many years, and she is one of my best friends, so the idea of sleeping with her honestly never crossed my mind. So without hesitation I tell her that's probably the most comfortable place, and I'm totally fine with it. I start changing for bed, but leave a t-shirt on, as to not make things uncomfortable, and hop onto one side of the bed. My friend who is an easy 9/10 comes into my room in just her panties on, and says something along the lines of hopefully you don't mind, it's kinda hot in here. Instead of cluing in at this point I thought to myself damn she's right, it is kinda hot, so I then took my shirt off, got up flicked off the lights, and told her she could have one of the two blankets. No sex was had and I often still look back on that night and wonder if I am secretly gay or just not so secretly a complete buffoon. You wanna do it? Haha. Sarah Dawn tease me. Goes to bed. This is objectively the worst one lol. She straight up asked. Every other story has someone being like women should just straight up ask instead of using hints, but apparently that's not guaranteed to work either lol. I don't know if this was necessarily sexual, but it was definitely me missing an obvious sign. There was a very pretty girl that I was very interested in college. We had the same major so shared a lot of classes. One day she and I are talking and she says, we should get together and study at my place. I can make dinner and everything. I replied with something like, oh. That'd be really nice and sounds like fun. Our class is small enough that we could probably invite everyone. Hahaha no, when did you realize your mistake? Facebook memories about 6 years later. I saw some posts she had made in me wall about hoping I was having a good summer. Looking forward to seeing me. Missing see me in class etc. Suddenly, it was like the end of Ocean's 11 where everything was revealed to me in a series of flashbacks. It's genuinely wild how much time can pass until it hits. 3 years later, while he was in the shower. Alone. She asked me if we can continue to talk in my bed. So I just kept talking in the bed lmao. At least she was good listening. So close and yet so far. But in the end. He didn't even bang her. Posted before, but girl was running her hand through my hair telling me how soft it was and asking me how I did it. Proceeded to talk for like 5 mins about shampoo I was using till she cut me off to tell me she had been trying to flirt with me all night. Well at least she told you. Maybe she was just jealous that op had a better hair routine than her. Was my partner in science and business classes in high school. Invited me to her family's cabin for a weekend. Just her and me. I asked about a friend and she said no, just the two of us. I never got back with her and kind of forgot about it until a couple years later when she pointed out the obvious. Oh yeah, then there was also the coworker that I was working alone with on Valentine's Day who had just finalized her divorce and how it was her first Valentine's Day alone in a long time. When she came back from lunch she gave me one of those giant Hershey kisses, and when I hugged her to thank her, she kissed my neck. Then I smiled at her, apologized for not getting her anything, and got back to work. She kissed your neck? Oof. She was super lonely and vulnerable. Good to just pass that by. Yeah, right, after divorce this was probably the best course of action. What I'm getting from this post is that even when girls blatantly state I want to have sex with you, us guys will still be oblivious and just take it as a joke. Not that we take it as a joke, it is more like this shit ain't real and laugh it off. When I was about 18 I was sleeping over at the place of the girl I'd had a crush on for years. As I went to sleep on the couch she said you could sleep here in the bed if you want, her bed that she was currently in. I honestly have no idea what actually happened inside my brain at that point, but no, the couch isn't so bad as what it came up with. The virginity shield works both ways I guess. Couch is couch. Edit, this, out of all my comments I've made, this is my top comment. Edit the sequel, thank you kind strangers for the awards. Disregard sex, acquire couch. I went out to Vietnamese food for dinner with this girl I knew from school. Date was going great, flirting, teasing each other, that sort of thing. At one point, I jeered her a bit for being late, and she responds that she was showering. I jokingly say, oh come on, how long can that take? She goes, well, I like to be completely hairless, and that takes time. That caught me pretty off guard, so I laughed it off in a sort of stunned amusement, thinking why did she tell me that? Yay, I wonder why. Well, we keep talking, and the date's still going great. Eventually we leave, and I walk her to her apartment. We arrive, at which point I'm thinking this is where we part ways. As we're finishing our conversation, she goes, oh, so you can come up to my room to hang out, I'll just be studying. Here's where I do the usual guy thing, I think she's just being nice and saying no. Besides, she's gonna be studying, so I shouldn't disturb her anyway, so thinks my empty head. I think she mentioned it one more time to really make future me wince, and I again decline. So we say goodbye and go on our merry ways. What really kills me now, maybe more so than what I just shared, is that I felt pretty self-satisfied as I was walking home. The whole walk back, I thought how that shaving line and her asking me up sure were pretty weird but probably nothing. I feel great about this night. So yay, a girl told me she shaved her pussy for me, and I said yay she's just being nice. If she'd left out the study part of the invite it probably would have been more clear. Ah, poor woman. All that wasted effort. I can confirm that a woman will not shave everything for a date if she doesn't feel there's at least a chance her date will see it. Also, she won't bring it up if she doesn't want it touched. At a James Bond theme party, girl says to me, you could be my Goldfinger and I could be your pussy galore. Me, ha, good pun. I'm more into a lot of vagina. The guy had been touchy for the whole night, stroking my thighs, my back. We were all hungry and drunk at that time and my apartment was nearby. Everything was closed, so he asked me to go to my place to get some food. My friend offered to accompany me, but he said he could do it instead. I didn't pick up the signs. He kept on trying to get some time alone, but I was too oblivious to realize. How come this comment is the first one from a girl or a gay guy? Maybe all the other comments are from lesbian women. You're thinking on a higher level than us mortal folks. In high school I had $1 I was going to use for something food related, she snatched it and put it down her shirt and told me if I wanted it, I would have to go get it. It was about 6 years later I recalled that moment and realized the missed opportunity. So I once had a gal who did that and I thought she was giving me the green light. She told me that was not okay. We talked about it and she realized how I misread it, but it was definitely awkward. I waited her out because I was understandably worried about sticking my hand down a girl's shirt in a crowded cafeteria and that fear overrode hunger. Also, what was her justification for doing that without it being a green light? I'm genuinely curious because even as an adult it seems like you're either stealing or very obviously saying I'm okay with you reaching into my shirt. Yeah, she just gets to keep my dollar because she has tits? Fuck that I want funions. I mean if I haven't realized it. The only real answer. Told this one before, but when my dad was young he was sitting outside with a girl after a party. She asked him if he wanted to go back to his place and make pancakes. He told her he was out of eggs. Well, he was in the position to bring some fresh eggs with him. The girl told me multiple times she thought of us like Eric and Donna from that 70s show. All my dumb teenage brain could think was this is inaccurate, I don't smoke weed, never mind that Eric and Donna were fucking for half of the show. At least, I think that's what she meant. Still not sure. Once a girl I was acquainted with at the time sat on my lap at a party and stayed there for half an hour talking about her day and asking me questions. Then she left, and my friends made fun of me for not picking up the advance. I thought she just couldn't find anywhere else to sit. Editing to add, she told my friend a few days later that I hurt her feelings by not being more receptive to her. She thought I was cold on purpose because I didn't like her. Oh, that's so pure. Stay pure, my dudes. Back in college, I was jokingly complaining to a good friend of mine that I never get any love letters on Valentine's Day. She said, "Well, I know someone who is in love with you." I demanded her to tell me who, and she turned bright red and wouldn't say anything else. Later that semester, she asked me out for coffee, so I agreed. We had a great time chatting about life and had a fun time, just like hanging out with any other friend. Weirdly, she stopped really speaking to me after that. There were many other encounters along those lines, but it took me about 3 years to realize that she had a huge crush on me and I was too much of an idiot to notice. But the question is, did you have any feelings for her? Because if you didn't, then you were doing everything right as her friend. But if you did, then that's a big oof on your end. I didn't, though. Honestly, I never thought about it at all. I was busy chazzing after a girl who had no interest in me. And the circle of lifelessness continues. In short, drunk me manages to ignore thrown underwear. People used to crash over at my place all the time, last house before a long road to the next town. Girl asked to stay over, which was normal and fine. I was locking up the house while she went up to my room. She already laid down in my bed, which was unusual, but fine by me. Normally I would take one of the 2 mattresses of my bed for people to sleep on. Now here comes the kicker, this girl, while laying under the covers, tosses her underwear into the room while saying she wanted them to stay clean for the next morning, and my drunk ass goes, "Yup, that makes sense," and proceeds to grab a pajama and hand it to her. Drunk me is not a very bright man. I had a pair of panties thrown at me when I was being oblivious to the situation. Easiest way to get my head in the game, though. Would definitely recommend that interest be declared by panty toss.